This is the afternoon of the 21st clip put up by Keith Edwards. Title, Leaked Audio Confirms Melania was an escort. No big surprise there, huh? Plays for 11 minutes.
You may have heard by now that Melania Trump put out a tweet demanding that Jimmy Kimmel get fired. Now, the tweet I'm going to talk about for a moment. I'm going to show you what Jimmy Kimmel said, but it got me wondering, why is she doing that during what is a very crazy time for the White House when Donald Trump has attention on himself yet again? And we did some digging, and what we found is that there's actually a clip that has been going viral on the internet from one of Donald Trump's friends who knows Melania, who works in the White House, that alleges that he knows a lot about her and that they cut a deal. And the deal that they cut is keeping him from saying everything that he knows. Now, that's Paolo Zampoli, who we've talked about before. And this audio also alleges that Melania Trump was previously an escort. So that's why when Melania Trump is tweeting something like this, where she says Kimmel's hateful and violent rhetoric is intended to divide our country, his monologue about my family isn't comedy, his words are corrosive and deepens the political sickness within America, people like Kimmel shouldn't have the opportunity to enter our homes each evening to spread hate. A coward, Kimmel hides behind ABC because he knows the network will keep running to cover to protect him. Enough is enough. It's time for ABC to take a stand. How many times will ABC's leadership enable Kimmel's atrocious behavior at the expense of our community? Like, what community? Regardless, this is what she's very upset about. This clip right here, it's 8 seconds long.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
Funny. Now, he's saying that because Donald Trump is obviously not doing well. He is almost going to be 80. He has those spots on his head. We've been through that. He's sick. Donald Trump is very sick. We're not talking about it enough, but he's sick. That's what he's joking about. He's not joking about the fact that Donald Trump almost got shot again. But she is not even upset about that. That's not what this is all about. It's not about the fact that Jimmy Kimmel made a joke for 8 seconds. What this is about is keeping us from talking about the thing that has been going viral over the week. And that is this. Exclusive audio came out for the first time this past week of Donald Trump's special envoy, Paolo Zampoli, revealing in a phone call the existence of a deal struck between him and Melania Trump before the 2016 presidential election. Now, this is an Italian, so I'm going to spare you, unless I'm sure there's very many smart people who know Italian who could listen to this, who watch, and I'm sure there's many Italians who also are watching the channel, but in case you do not, it's actually been transcribed, and I have it right here. It starts off acknowledging the statements from Amanda Ungaro, who we've talked about before on the channel, saying that her statements have shaken the White House. Amanda, of course, is Paolo Zampoli's ex-girlfriend, who they share a child with. And Paolo actually had Amanda deported, which is what set this whole thing off. And if you don't know all the lore, I'm going to leave a link below to the previous video that covers all of this. Now, until now, however, there was no evidence of this pact between Paolo and Melania, but Report has managed to uncover it. It all dates back to 2016 when the British tabloid Daily Mail published an investigative piece regarding Melania Trump's past, baselessly accusing her of having worked as an escort. Melania Trump secured the removal of the article along with a multi-million-dollar settlement thanks in part to public statements from Zampoli. Zampoli on the phone. Now, this is recorded. I wrote the document for the president and the first lady, and they used it for their speech. We just won a massive lawsuit against the Daily Mail. A truly massive lawsuit. I cannot discuss it because I'm bound by a non-disclosure agreement. I have yet to cash the check. We won last week. I am in this country thanks to President Trump. He gave me a job. I started out in real estate. I built myself a beautiful home. I would never betray a friend. Now, in this phone call, which the report had attained and which took place in 2017, Zampoli, speaking with a contact linked to the United Nations, revealed that Melania Trump allegedly guaranteed him protection in exchange for his assistance in dispelling potential shadows surrounding her past. This is the audio recording that everyone has been searching for. Report can now reveal it exclusively. Zampoli on the phone. Donald Trump knows he trusts in his friends Paulo, which he considers to be family, and his wife is not a prostitute. Maybe she doesn't have the most fluent American accent, maybe she poses naked as many models, but she is a good girl, okay? You don't want nobody calling your effing wife a prostitute when she is the mother of your kid, Melania told me. Paulo, don't worry about it, we have your back. Everything that happened, you protect, okay? Then 2 weeks later, they won the election, and that's it. And the narrator goes on to say, following Trump's victory in the election, the presidential couple kept their word. Zampoli entered Donald Trump's inner circle, eventually receiving a position of the highest trust comparable to those reserved for the president's closest family members. Now, that Daily Mail article has actually been completely scrubbed from the internet, and we did a lot of digging to try to find it. We could not find it. If you have access to that Daily Mail article, you can email keithsdebateclub@gmail.com. I would love to see it, and certainly would love to be able to get it back out there into the atmosphere. Now, what probably happened was that Paulo knows everything about Melania, good and bad. And so how reporting works is if a couple people have confirmed it, but then you have people on your side who are intimately close to the accusations refuting it, then it makes it much more challenging to keep a story up. And so part of what that article said was that Paulo was running an escort ring through his modeling agency. Now, is that true? I don't know. But we do know that Epstein used modeling agencies to get girls, and so it could be very likely that there's more truth to it than there are lies. What we do know from evidence we do have today is stuff like this from Vanity Fair, saying that when Melania went out, she seemed to be only going out with older men. We also have an old article here from a Slavian magazine called Susie, saying here, but the rumor mill does not stop worrying there. Earlier this month, the Slavian magazine Susie published a front page story claiming Melania's modeling agency in New York, run by New York entrepreneur Paolo Zampoli, also operated as an escort agency for wealthy clients. On the other hand, the girls, pretended to be models, but they principally earned money as elite escorts. The magazine article claimed they even had 2 composite cards, presentation cards, held by each model, with 2 photos and basic information such as measurements, eye and hair color, and agency details. One composite card was for the modeling business and the other one for the sex business, as it stated whether they prefer the older men and describe their abilities in the bedroom. The article added, what Melania's composite card looked like, only the people involved know, but it is no coincidence she got a rich husband. So there is certainly some there, and the only person who will be able to refute that would be Paolo Zampoli. And the Trumps have been very smart in keeping Paolo Zampoli close to them. And isn't it interesting that when Paolo Zampoli was like, hey, please deport my girlfriend because I want custody of our child, the Trump administration didn't even flinch, right? Now, as I said, the Daily Mail retracted all of that, saying that the article discussed whether allegations made out about Melania Trump could negatively affect her husband, Donald Trump's presidential bid. Among other things, the article noted that allegations had been made in a book available on Amazon about a modeling agency where Ms. Trump worked in Milan, being something like a gentleman's club. An article published by Susie, a Slavian magazine, alleged that Mrs. Trump's modeling agency in New York, run by Paolo Zampoli, operated as an escort agency for wealthy clients. And then they went on further and said, to the extent that anything in the Daily Mail's article was interpreted as stating or suggesting that Mrs. Trump worked as an escort or in the sex business, that she had a composite or presentation card for the sex business, or that either of the modeling agencies referenced in the article were engaged in these businesses, it is hereby retracted, and the Daily Mail newspaper regrets any such misinterpretation. So, we're going to keep following this, but let's just tally everything up, okay? Melania Trump, again, puts out a random statement about Jimmy Kimmel, something I'm sure you didn't even know existed. I didn't know that clip existed until she drew attention to it. But it got us all talking about that. Meanwhile, over the weekend, this clip is going viral, a clip that acknowledges that Paolo made a deal with the Trumps to keep quiet. Paolo is the only person who knows the truth about Melania Trump and her work as a model. It says in a Vanity Fair article that she was a second or third tier model and her time was running out at the age of 26, and that she typically went on dates with older men. And we have a Daily Mail article that was removed because of Paulo's own testimony to the Daily Mail. Meanwhile, a Slavian magazine that is harder to touch through our legal system exists and alleges that Melania Trump was actually secretly an escort. And we all know that Paolo Zampoli and Epstein allegedly used modeling agencies to feed young women and sometimes even girls to Epstein. So there's a lot there. It's interesting to me that that's all coming up at a time when Amanda Ungaro is also saying that she knows a lot more about Melania and she's willing to tell because she's pissed off and has nothing to lose. Got it? So I really do think Melania Trump is not handling this well. She's going rogue. She's doing what she feels like she needs to do to protect herself. And I think it's certainly making it so that we have to ask more questions. And there sure does seem to be a lot to dig through. And that's what we're going to do here. If you want to dig with us, hit like, subscribe.
You know, I don't know why Amanda doesn't just come forward and spill the beans on her. We'll see how this thing unfolds. Thanks for listening.